Now, taps are running dry in many parts of the country, but the pockets of water tank mafias are certainly not running empty. The criminal syndicates are thriving, especially in KwaZulu-Natal. What they do is they allegedly sabotage the water infrastructure so they can then profit by providing tankers to affected areas.
Imagine waking up, turning on your tap, and nothing comes out. Not because of a natural drought, but because criminal syndicates have deliberately cut off your water supply. This isn't a dystopian novel, it's the harsh reality for millions in South Africa, where water mafia has grown significantly, disrupting essential services to line their own pockets. This isn't a new problem, but it's one that has escalated dramatically. The water mafia first emerged in KwaZulu-Natal around 2014, capitalizing on existing water shortages by supplying water tankers at outrageously inflated prices. And as other parts of the country began to experience water stress, these opportunistic criminals saw their chance. They expanded their operations, with Gauteng, in particular, becoming a major target. It's a classic example of how a crisis can be exploited when governance is weak and oversight is lacking. The scale of this problem has even garnered the attention of President Ramaphosa himself. Earlier this year, at the National Water and Sanitation in Doba, he openly acknowledged that criminal syndicates have infiltrated parts of South Africa's vital water supply. When the president of a nation has to address criminal infiltration into something as fundamental as water, you know the problem is severe. What started with overpriced water tankers has now become far more sophisticated and brazen. In recent months, these mafias have begun to deliberately disrupt water supply to win contracts with municipalities. Think about that for a moment. They create the problem, then offer the solution, all while charging exorbitant fees. And it doesn't stop there. They've also started branching into wastewater treatment, which, if you understand the infrastructure, is another highly lucrative area where disruptions can be engineered. So, how have they managed to get away with this? A recent report from the New Lines Institute shed some crucial light on this, explaining that these mafias have effectively exploited existing forms of corruption within the government. This is where the lines blur between organized crime and corrupt officials. The report found that national-scale projects aimed at improving water infrastructure are particularly vulnerable to corruption and fraud. Let's look at an example. South Africa's War on Leaks program, launched in 2015, was meant to address critical water losses and improve infrastructure. The government spent around R3 billion on it. But an investigation later found that a staggering 20% of that expenditure was irregular. That's a 600 million that likely disappeared into pockets instead of fixing pipes. And here's the kicker, the very failure of these programs to genuinely improve water supply actually increases the demand for private water tankers. It's a vicious cycle. Furthermore, the government has also struggled to adequately prevent vandalism and sabotage of existing water infrastructure. This isn't just random acts of destruction, it's often targeted and calculated. Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation, Isaac, has been quite vocal about this. He pointed out how water tankering has become an incredibly lucrative business. And the involvement isn't just external. He specifically highlighted how some municipal officials and politicians are involved in shutting off water valves to create artificial demand for these water tankers, which, as we know, are then supplied at inflated costs. This isn't just corruption, it's a betrayal of public trust on an unprecedented scale. The audacity goes even further. In some cases, individuals are stealing parts that could be used to repair broken infrastructure, effectively extending the contracts for water tankers. Imagine the cynicism required to deliberately prolong suffering for personal gain. Criminal syndicates also target electrical cables and equipment, ensuring pumping stations can't function for extended periods, further exacerbating water shortages. And this infiltration isn't just about procurement. Water Minister Pemi Majidina has spoken about the deep-seated corruption within the water sector. Individuals involved in these criminal syndicates are heavily connected to government officials. We're talking about a network of complicity where those meant to serve the public are actively working against them. Some municipal officials have even directly disrupted communities' access to water to broker new agreements with water mafias, often pocketing a portion of the tender money. Even more disturbing, in some other cases, municipal officials have shared information on planned infrastructure repairs, enabling mafias to damage the infrastructure soon after repairs are completed. This is all done with one aim, to continually disrupt the flow of water to local residents, leaving them reliant on these expensive, often illicit, tanker services. It's a calculated strategy to maintain a permanent state of crisis for profit. The impact is most keenly felt in provinces like KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, where these mafias are particularly prominent. These regions already experience sporadic water outages, which the mafia then thrives on. Gauteng, with its 3 major metros, has seen its water resources come under increasing pressure from rapid population growth and severe delays in the construction of critical projects like the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. This pre-existing vulnerability creates a perfect storm for exploitation. As a result, Gauteng has become increasingly reliant on water tankers over the past few years, spending over R2 billion on private tanker contracts in just the past 5 years. Think about that, R2 billion that could have gone into building resilient infrastructure, instead it's funding a criminal enterprise. The city of Durban, in particular, has proven to be incredibly vulnerable. Rapid urbanization and failing infrastructure have pushed communities there to rely heavily on private tankers. A ground-up investigation in Adams Mission, a town in eThekwini, revealed a shocking reality: nearly every resident interviewed had purchased water sold illegally by these tanker mafias. And the cost? Mafias will illegally charge residents up to 15 times the city set rates. Some estimates suggest that a single tanker holding 28,000 liters of water can earn over R1 million in just a few days in areas where municipal trucks are nowhere to be seen. That's the staggering profitability that fuels this illicit trade and incentivizes this systematic sabotage. This isn't just about water, it's about the erosion of trust in government, the undermining of essential services, and the exploitation of the most vulnerable. The water mafia preys on the desperate, turning a fundamental human right into a commodity to be hoarded and sold at inflated prices. It highlights critical failures in governance, infrastructure management, and the fight against corruption. Tackling this requires more than just arresting individuals. It demands a comprehensive approach that addresses corruption at all levels, strengthens infrastructure, ensures transparent procurement processes, and protects whistleblowers. The future of South Africa's water security depends on it. What are your thoughts on this dire situation? Have you or your community been affected by these water shortages or the water mafia? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis.